we're going to finish the brioche dough so that it has a chance to rise again overnight. We are going to take our sponge, which did everything it was supposed to do, and it smells really good. And so we're going to come in, and brioche is a little bit different because you're going to make kind of a base dough, and then you're going to start adding the butter, and the butter is almost going to laminate itself inside that dough. It's going to be a stickier dough. The first base dough looks dry, and a lot of times students will get a little nervous thinking, oh, it doesn't look right. But once you add that butter is going to make a huge difference and hydrate that dough and make it look exactly like we want it to be. So I'm going to add, I have 2 different flours in this brioche, and so that's creating a more delicate crumb with intention. So I'm going to get all my dry in together like I've done. I have a dough hook on here. I have some sugar, which makes it beautiful. Salt. Then I'm going to add my yeast. So I'm going to get all my dry in like I always do, and I like to mix it up a little bit and incorporate it because it's better for it. I'm going to start adding, I have my milk, my starter, and my eggs. I think I'll stop it and just kind of put it on top here. I have my eggs. I'm going to drop this down to get my starter in because it can be challenging to get it in there. Oh, it's beautiful though. It's so happy. It adds the most beautiful quality. And like I said, for brioche, you can always, always, always have a starter because that is how really the bread dough has a chance to ferment. Because with as much butter as we're going to laminate into this bread dough, it's really not going to rise up like you want it to. So we've given this yeast a chance to do all of its work. Oh, there we go. And I don't want to waste any because boy, it's just, it's all goodness. All right, there it is. The last component I have is my butter, and I have it very soft. I'm going to come in here and get this incorporated, and I'm going to show you what it's supposed to look like before the butter, exactly like I did with the cinnamon roll dough. This has a higher butter percentage, so there's a little bit more going into it. It's going to look like a little bit drier dough, and I'm going to show you what we're looking for. We're going to add the butter, and I'm going to show you what it looks like afterwards, and you'll be able to see, and then you'll know. The brioche dough is ready to have the butter added to it. We're going to do it in 4 increments, 4 different times that we're going to add that butter into it. And like I said, it's going to come in, you're going to scrape it really well. Every time you add the butter, you're going to let it incorporate, you scrape it, incorporate it, and start adding another component of butter 4 times. So I have my butter nice and soft, and so it is one. No, I'm going to let that incorporate really well. Like I said, scraping, when I was mixing it prior to the butter, I probably scraped it 2 or 3 times, really to get that dry incorporated really well. My butter is going to kind of bring itself to the sides of the bowl. What I want to be able to do is scrape that really well and get that incorporation going on. This dough is sticky coming off the mixer because it's so very high in butter. But by the time we get it bulk fermented overnight in the walk-in where it gets nice and chilled and cold, and like I said, you always work with it cold, it'll be perfect to be able to work with it. My brioche is ready to come off the mixer, and I want to show you what we're looking for. I have my sheet pan set to go like I do every time for bulk fermentation. I've sprayed it, I've lightly floured it, and it's ready to go. And this has been on close to 7, maybe 8 minutes. And I've worked with it each time. I've scraped it down, made sure it's all incorporated nice and perfectly. I want to give my time to the kneading of it. It's very, like I said, it's got a lot of butter in it. So to develop the dough, because it's an enriched dough, it just takes a little bit longer. So I left it on just to get it just where I wanted it to. And I filmed that so you can see what we're looking for. So here we go. We're going to take this off. Get off this dough hook. I have a nice scraper. And like I said, it's a little bit stickier dough. Are we going to round it and get a skin on it? I don't think so. But we're going to see what we can come up with here. Here's that. Make sure I come in here, and you don't want it to ever stick to you. Super important. They really incorporated it very well, I thought. I liked that. That I kind of really got up underneath it. Sometimes that dry flour can come to the bottom of it. There we go. We're going to get this out. Like I said, it's sticky. That's, you know, it has a lot of very soft butter that's been incorporated in it. get this bread dough up. I'm gonna use my bench knife. Move more to the center of my pan here. Flour myself. Kind of come in, straighten it out a little bit. See that flour helps you work with it. Flour myself. Roll this dough over. If I stick a little, that's what the bench knife is there for. Get myself turned over. Kind of make where I stuck a little bit, I'm going to put a little flour on it. I like that, and it rounded very nicely. Take my time with it. And what I'm doing is I'm just rolling it around, and each time I want to get a little more flour underneath it. When it gets cold in the walk-in overnight, it's gonna do really well. Kind of get a little skin on it. There we go. Now I can work with it a little better. There we are. There it is. Much better. So I used the flour, my bench knife, rolled it around, and each time where I picked up that flour, I came in and floured a little bit more. You can see I got a nice little skin on it. Bag and tag, put it away, let it have its chance to build its character overnight. And then we're going to bring it out. We're going to show you how we're going to form it. It makes a beautiful loaf of bread and the best French toast with kind of a creme brulee base to it with your eggs and custard. And boy, it's